James Harris, A2 Media Evaluation. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Firstly, I started to look at different conventions of what a documentary intends to have, and I started to note down what I should do to follow the rules of how a documentary should be shot. Some conventions I agreed with and some I disagreed with, such as handheld camera work, poor lighting. I disagree because these are not in a modern documentary. Cameras are set up to capture the most amazing shots. The lighting is also fixed many times to get the best shots for a scene, such as night shots where they will set up a camera and light. My documentary didn't use this convention because I set up my camera with a tripod to get better and still shots, as a wobbly camera isn't great to watch. Also, in regards to the lighting, I did use natural lighting but wasn't planned, it was just that I chose the right time. If the light wasn't good enough, I would have set up my own lighting system, and which I'm sure most modern day documentaries use to capture their desirable shots. I started this year by deconstructing many different documentaries to get an idea of what is expected in the shots. The storyline, the interview, actors used, text and music, I had to consider all this to put into my own. I deconstructed 8 different genres of documentaries, including sport, lifestyle, culture, hobbies and medical. These are all very interesting, not just the subjects but all use different ways of portraying the main character or other cast. What I was most interested in was the sport, hence why my documentary is a subgenre of sport and football. I deconstructed Tested to Limit, which involves Cristiano Ronaldo. The documentary, to put it short, is what it says in the name. The star is tested in many different areas to see how and why he is the best player and how he achieves certain things. What most interested me were the unique shots and of the slow motion, the technology which would show his body muscles like an X-ray, and how powerful the meaning behind the documentary is. From this, I made my documentary to be focused on one player in the club. Tested to Limit gave me an idea of using football in my documentary, but to make it a little more broader, I chose to incorporate the club and information about what happens inside the club. In comparison to the rest of my deconstructions, this is the closest to football and sport. So why didn't I pick the other genres to follow? Well, I'm interested in sport and mad on football, so this was perfect. I didn't choose wildlife and animals because getting shots and making them exciting would be hard, as I'm quite restricted. I didn't use any medical because I don't know much about it and would be silly to make mine about something I don't know. But what I did learn from this is that different shots used and how to incorporate different ways of interviewing and using different shot scenery. So I've learned a lot from doing deconstructions, and I feel this is a good knowledge of what other genres are like, because you can cancel out and add things in that are appropriate. For my ancillary tasks, I deconstructed 3 TV adverts and 3 TV listings. For my adverts, I chose to look at the internet and found one on football, one on the NFL, and one on Mankind. The conventions I found looking at these 3 are that they all have a channel which is being shown on, the time and date it's on, possibly a website for further information, and of course a large photo describing what a documentary is about. After I had looked at many of these, I decided I knew what to add on my own, but through trial and error, as some photos didn't work, some text didn't look right, and finally I produced my own TV advert. Mine included a channel which was Sky Sports 1, which is a main channel for sports. I added a time and a date of the documentary because this tells the audience when it is on. I put a large picture of the team in a wall defending a free kick, as this shows the team in action and shows the audience who Climping are. For social networking reasons, I added a hashtag which is a popular thing on Twitter, as then this trends and gets the word out to more people, so a good way to advertise through the audience. Finally, I added Sky's very own catch-up service, so viewers can re-watch the documentary, or if missed, view it again. Another ancillary task we had to do was a TV listing. Once again, I deconstructed 3 to get an understanding of some key features to know what to actually do when making a TV listing. I deconstructed I deconstructed all of them from the Radio Times, and this is a chosen magazine I'd publish mine for. The first was The New Hand, a documentary about a man who lost his hand and then the first in the world to have a hand transplant. This was to do with medical, so it didn't really give me many factors I can include, but what I did learn was the style of how the article was written and how the format was so I benefited from this a lot. The picture is effective too, as it shows his new hand. The second was Africa, a series shown on BBC, narrated by Sir David Attenborough. The double-page spread showed me a lot to take from my own, and having subheadings, a huge title, a comical phrase, a large photo, which is very powerful, of a shark, and the photo next to it equally powerful, of the crew on the boat taking a close-up of the shark. And the format of the text is very neat and easy to read, which is positive to the reader. Even this being a wildlife genre, it gave me even more ideas to add to my very own. Lastly, I deconstructed Real Chariots of Fire, a documentary about two British Olympic heroes. This is a good documentary to work from because it involves sport, which is my interest, the layout in columns, which is a large photo at the top of the movie actor in the film Chariots of Fire. The little photo is the real photo taken in 1904. The title is effective too because it says "Relight Our Fire," and it is bringing two daughters together for the first time, so that works well. My final TV listing included many conventions from what I deconstructed, such as the large photo, which had to be the most effective as the audience will see this first and last, with a small photo to give another angle of what the documentary is about, with a visual image. I took this idea from the Africa documentary. I used the lines as you can see on the Real Chariots of Fire to outline sections and used the columns in that text too. I added a subtitle as necessary to follow the rules in the Radio Times in the same style too. I also made a date of the magazine down the bottom. Question 2. How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary tasks? My two ancillary tasks were a TV advert and a TV listing, and they linked together by focusing on conventions that grabbed an audience attention. Whilst deconstructing for the ancillary tasks, I looked at the documentaries that had been advertised and started to think how these relate to what had been put into the magazine or advert. I made a short list of things that briefly consist of a TV advert, which is a large effective picture taken from the documentary or a picture of the overall genre. I made a channel that it will be shown on, so viewers will look on a time and date, otherwise they'll never see the documentary, and of course a title of what the documentary is called. So I followed this and took into my own advert. After producing this, I had to think carefully that it relates with my final product, which I think it does, as my main photo is showing my main character who plays a big role. It tells you with sports, and even more specific, you can see football. So then when watching my documentary, the audience can see what they saw on the advert, which I think is effective. In terms of reality, you wouldn't expect to see anything other than what the advert shows you, as there isn't any text explaining what it is about, so from the audience you have to make an assumption of what you see. My TV listing connects with my main product, as you can see the documentary is on football. I have used my main actor in action to show my target audience power and energy in the photo, and from that I believe I have picked the most appropriate photo, regarding there is only 5 minutes I have filmed of my documentary, but considering further on there would be more shots of the player in action, as the documentary would be generally longer. For my TV listing, I was sceptical at first by deciding what should go onto a double page spread, but after spending time looking at the Radio Times, I then realised this is a style I want to follow. I made mine I made mine by taking snips of many different pages and adding them to create a combination of styles, which are smart and formal yet compelling. I used constructive lines to outline sections to show careful placement of my work too, as it shows I haven't just put it anywhere. My documentary describes the club throughout, and I have incorporated this too. So they both link together. The location of the photo is shot at the club's home ground, so this bonds together. Overall, to the answer of the question, how effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary tasks, I feel quite comfortable to say that it is equally effective, as I have followed the simple rules of other documentaries, TV listings and adverts, and that I have made my own recreation using my own material. My ancillary tasks have followed the style of the Radio Times, which are very formal magazines. I believe that deconstructing before making your own is an amazing starting point, and guidelines show you how yours could or should be. Question 3. What have you learned from your audience feedback? My audience is targeted at males between 18 and 35 who are working class, because the documentary is about men's football in a county division, which is a Saturday league, and mainly working class men play football on the weekends, in my opinion. So the documentary would relate very well to them. I think I've targeted them by involving quotes from different age ranges and by interviewing the player who is 18, showing he has just started his men's football career, which some of the viewers may be finishing theirs and some could be starting. So this could be bringing back memories and connect with that player, because they have all started there. Then this connects to the younger audience below the age of 18, because it shows what men's football in that sort of league is, showing bigger pictures, bigger players and bigger challenges. Although I'm relatively happy with my final documentary, I know I could have done a heck of a lot more work, planning, organisation, shot locations, and mainly more time to boost my mark from a poor 18, which is a slightly unfair, but then again I guess I didn't hit the criteria. But if I had done the things I'd missed out, I would have got a more reasonable score, which I would have been happier with. If I could redo my documentary, I would start by using more interviewees to get the audience a mix of characters and give the documentary a better storyline. I'd have liked to have been a little more organised and planned my shots to yet again get structure and a better shape to understanding football. Planning my shots would have given me more time, as I would have known what I needed to take, to be honest, when I record my shots. I tried a lot on the day and picked the best ones, which got to edit, which was time consuming and maybe not the best way, as I could have made my shots look more professional. Regarding that, this is my first time using a video camera to make and edit a documentary. I didn't think it was too bad. In regards of my locations, I wish I had filmed more of the game itself and focused on many other factors of football, such as the little things people don't pay attention to, like the referees, linesmen, ground staff, chairman, and what makes the game happen without all the people. I'm 100% sure that the game wouldn't be played. Another key thing, which was highly annoying is my sound. When I finished my final documentary, I was told to turn my sound down, which I didn't think I should have done, as it was a reasonable before. But after it had been published into a video, I found that the sound was too quiet, and then this scored my documentary down. A lot of audience feedback said it was too quiet, so in future I would make sure that my sound is perfect level. Question 4. How did you use media technologies in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? Throughout making my product, I've used a different range of technologies, making my production all come together. I've used a new form of technology which is called Blogger. Blogger is a service provided by Google, and it's where we upload all of our work to show what we have done, learn and how we have progressed. I think Blogger is a fantastic service. Technologies I've also used is a video camera, which was to film my documentary and take photos for the ancillary tasks and other photos from what I decide to take. Here's a quick video to show how I've used a video camera. I've also used the snipping tool to cut down images from websites which may not allow me to copy, or if I wanted to a specific part of an image, I would cut it down and edit it so I can put it into different parts. I've used a Word document as a lot of to plan a lot of my work, as it's the simplest form of jotting ideas down. And it's very simple and easy to use, as we've been using it for years. Main components I've used for my ancillary task is a website called Pixlr. Pixlr is an amazing program, as it allows you to have many different layers of photos, as it is easy to use and can have a lot to play around with. Pixlr allows you to crop images and get rid of certain parts, which are really helpful. I've used this a lot to edit and adjust photos for your need. For my final photo on my TV listing, it was useful as I added an effect to get the colour and make this have a better effect at a higher quality. Pixlr is simple and easy to use if you are a beginner. It makes it easy to produce anything in a high quality way. I use my soundtrack from a website called Free Music Archive, which is a copyright-free music site, so you can use sound legally and easily find a genre that suits your documentary or music video. I've been using the Radio Times to keep looking at different styles of double pages of documentaries and how it is set out, so I can't go wrong in my own design. Using magazines and books are good, as you're not stuck on a PC all day. Radio Times is a British weekly television and radio programme listing magazine, founded and originally published in-house by BBC Magazines from 1923 to 2011, when the BBC Magazines division was merged into Intermediate Media Company. Adobe Premiere Pro is a main programme I've used to edit everything. Adobe, which is really useful, easy and efficient program, which I find great as that you can add all your clips in all your clips in and move them, cut them down, slow them down, speed them up, and has anything you need to make a better movie. I felt really comfortable using this, as I can figure out new things to help me produce a better documentary and make it sound a lot better. I thought that having all this high technology makes it a lot easier for you to edit, as you may have two of the same shots. One may not be as good as you hope for, but editing the two together you can make these really good and effective clips. Although this program has been the bane of my life for 2 months, it has shown to be a great tool and skill I've adopted. Also, at the start of the year, before we started doing anything with our production, we had an animation workshop with an editor. We had many different workstations to try out different ways of using stop motion filming, which was really fun and provided us with different skills. Here's what our class got up to during the day. That's the end of my media evaluation A2.
Mhm.